2005, Chicago, Illinois. A group of two twin brothers and two best friends formed a band they called Madina Lake. The band quickly gained success with US national and even international tour experience. With a large following on the internet, like sites like MySpace, Pure Volume, and here's the throwback for you, the band even had thousands of downloads off of LimeWire. Madina Lake took a break in 2013, and after a break that seemed like forever, the band made an announcement that they would reunite in 2017. And last year, in 2020, they released brand new music in spite of the coronavirus pandemic. Learn about the band's journey from start to now. Find out on this episode of The Vinnie Langdon Show. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Vinnie Langdon Show. Man, it feels weird to say that after, a 2-year hiatus, but, after the year we had last year, I said, you know what, it's time to get back into this, start talking about some of the music history that, I think being in this bubble for the past year kind of makes us reflect on, the things that we once used to enjoy and the things that, we were passionate about. And with this barrier, always thinking, well, why did we stop? Why did we take a pause? Life happens in ways we don't, quite understand sometimes. But today, my guest is a good friend of mine. His name is Matthew. He is best known for being the bass player and the founder of his Chicago-based rock band, Madina Lake. Yes, that, throw back to, 10, 15 years ago when they were a rising band. And, we'll talk about their success. And Matthew, it's great to see you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Vinny. As always, we were talking in the pre-show, but just about how impressed my band always was with Vinnie Langdon and how his career arc. And it was so nice to see your email pop up in my inbox. So thank you for reaching out.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for those who do not know and are not familiar with Madina Lake, you have a twin brother and, your other best friends, Chicago, about 2005. You played in other bands and you said, hey, let's try something different and form this band, Madina Lake. And tell us, how did it all start?
Yeah, well, it's a funny thing is when I roll back the clock to that time, uh, Dan and Mateo were in another band called Forma in Chicago, and we were my band had already been signed and dropped. So like we were damaged goods and it was such a dark period, like when you work so long, you put in those 10,000 hours plus, and you just want something so bad. And then you get it, and then it's, the rug is pulled out from under you. So then on their side of that coin was um, they were showcasing and showcasing and showcasing. So we shared a manager. And on this particular night during that summer of 2004, I think it was, they had showcased for Virgin, and we were all so nervous because they were nervous about blowing it. It would have been like their ninth showcase that they didn't, they got passed on. And Nathan and I were terrified that they would do well, and get signed, and we'd be all jealous. And so thankfully they blew the showcase. And after the show, because Nathan and I should mention, we wanted to start a band with them. And so we invited them over to our house, and we were on our rooftop deck, which is like, it was a rotating door, the cast of musicians and creative people in Chicago throughout the summer. And in the way, way, way late hours or early, depending how you define it, we just, all the four of us were commiserating over the hell that is the music business. And I propositioned them with a question. I said, what would, all right. everyone was so focused on just getting signed, getting the record deal. That was it, but nobody thought past that. So I was like, I asked them to postulate what would be your ideal musical situation. And we all went around and it was like, oh, no pressure to write the hit single, play exactly the music we want, be in our favorite band. Um, and we realized all our values and interests aligned. And so we were like, let's make our own band and do whatever we want, you know?
Right,
And that's
right.
what we did. And we were signed within 6 months. So,
Yeah, and I think that's amazing because you guys quickly, had to kind of grow up and get out of that comfort zone of, we can't just play shows in our hometown anymore for our mom and
yeah.
dad and cousins and, aunts and uncles and our, friends from school. It's you're in a van, you kind of bond like a family, and you're out on the road going to places you've never been. You go to some venues where maybe one or two kids heard you on MySpace, and the rest of the crowd is looking at you like, Medina Lake, that's where are they from, and and a lot of bands, sometimes, I mean, I know bands that have been a band for 10 years and they have even, left their nest, so to speak, of, their home state. And
Yeah.
for you, what, looking back now, what do you think, applied to that success of, was it just having that mentality of let's just do it and not care?
There was nothing outside of uh, our amenability to do. I mean, the label, they were like, okay, well, we have a chance to do 20 dates in this window, but you will be, you'll be just getting off of Project Revolution, and you will have, flown to Europe for this show. We think you should probably take that time off. And we're like, no, 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 let's do it. So the label, they loved us because we were, happy to. We had a really, really solid work ethic, and I do remember. I mean, even like sort of expanding on what I was saying before about not really imagining beyond getting the record deal. We went from LA, we finished the record in LA, and we drove all the way to New Jersey for Bamboozle, which is a 30 plus hour drive. And then after that show, we drove all the way back to the other side of the country um, to play in Nevada with to start another tour. And our tour manager at the time, he was a friend of ours, and for the previous 5 years, he was like, I know you guys are gonna get signed, and when you do, I'm gonna be your tour manager. And he was so excited, like so excited about that, like so excited about the fact that we were getting signed. He's like, I can't believe I've been waiting 5 years to do this. And as soon as we did that first show, he quit.
Oh my goodness.
I'll
Wow.
never forget him walking with a suitcase just off into the sunset at Bamboozle.
Just see you guys later.
Yeah, and it was scary. We were like, oh my God, we look at on our website and just see the dates like just getting longer and longer. Like,
Uh,
Jesus, we're not going to be home until Christmas.
right,
It
right.
was, it's an adjustment, no doubt, but then it becomes your lifestyle and you're addicted to that.
Yeah. Now you did mention Project Revolution, which was, a memorial thing. And I had so many fans of the Vinnie Langdon show will reach out to me and they'll say, oh man, have you interviewed this band or that band? And back in the day, they always would say, Vinny, you should get Linkin Park on the show, interview Chester. How cool would that be?
Yeah,
And of course, we lost him a few years back, but when you think of, those iconic bands and I always think like, what was it really like to be around either Sinatra or Elvis Presley? Like what really made them, who they are and why are they still remembered all these years later? Now you have that first person encounter with, sharing the road with, Linkin Park. And
yeah.
do you have any, memories that pop out from that tour that kind of makes you think, yeah, well, that is why, Linkin Park is so likable, still to this day.
Yeah, we were, first of all, and this is something that we never experienced after that, before that, and we never experienced again afterwards, which is on the first day of Project Revolution, there were 9 bands total on that tour, and it was a bus tour, and we only had a van, and we were the only band in a van, and it was routed according to that. So while all the bands were sleeping and the drivers were driving them through the night, we were driving, showing up in the parking lot, driving around at 110 degrees. Like we'd have to keep the van moving. The air conditioning wouldn't work if it didn't.
Man.
Anyways, the Mike and Chester, while we were in the parking lot, they walked up to us. They drove a golf cart up to us, and they came and shook our hands, and they just welcomed us to the tour. And they said, we heard we had 90 submissions for the tour, and we listened to a bunch of them, and we heard we picked you guys, and they could not have been sweeter people and greater humans. I mean, they were so sweet. And they set up their backstage area to sort of what I'm guessing is it to replicate a bit of home, to bring a little bit of home on the road, with catering and all that. And then they had ping pong tables and things like that. And I was watching Chester play. I think must have been Mike on ping pong, and they were like just little kids. It was like just two childhood friends. I think the way that they managed to keep level heads and mitigate inflated egos, there was none of that. They were just very real. And I think that connects with people,
Right.
They did it every night. They were so sweet. They were grateful for their success, and I think that's what did it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of, your band Medina Lake. And I remember a lot of the venues, when you guys were out on the road, you have the club, manager standing out there going, well, it's Sunday night, it's 11 o'clock, you guys got to be out here. And you guys would, kind of shuffle the fans. Hey, come over to our van. The venue's locking the door, but come over to our van. We'll, still sign your
Yeah,
CDs and shirts. And that
absolutely.
is so important. And a lot of the, I want to say the newer bands, they kind of don't, understand that we're in this whole, digital age that, has a mind of its own where it's, oh, just, hey, here's my, Facebook, just hit me up and we'll communicate after the show. And, that's cool, but it's
Yeah,
not the same. And, if you look back at, the generation even before you guys without the internet, there was always this, mysterious, of
yeah,
like, what's Kiss like? What's Guns N' Roses like? What are they? You don't know what their personalities are. And
right.
now any band in the world, you can Google and
Yeah,
you can Google Matthew from Medina Lake and go, oh, his favorite color is this. And he was eating spaghetti last night with his wife and kids. And it's like,
it's
that's
great.
crazy.
It is crazy, and it's funny. It's sort of you know, it keeps you it keeps you grounded for sure, and keeps you on your toes. Because like knowing there could potentially be a camera on you at any time, and there's several platforms by which people will see anything that you do or say. It is a
Right.
little unsettling.
For American fans to understand that there's a whole process of course, going overseas and playing, a different country. And tell us some of the experiences you remember that, kind of stand out where it was kind of eye-opening for you and your band.
Oh man, yeah, we had some incredible experiences. Once we sort of lost the inhibitions about the unknown, doing things like that, then you're really able to submerge into it. Like what we loved is, as tourists before we visited all these wonderful places with the band, I don't. We'd always like when Nathan and I would travel. We always tried to find like the hipster areas of these new cities, and just really understand the culture past the Eiffel Tower, say,
Right.
and going as a band enables you to meet people from who that's their hometown and it's their pride and joy, and they can't wait to show it to you. And I can't tell you how many like incredible meals we've had where, the restaurant would be shut down. Say in Lyon, France, we went, the promoter and some friends, they just took us for like a 5-minute walk, and we had no idea where we were going. And then they opened one of these shutters just on the side of a cobblestone roadways. And one guy climbs in and goes down like 5 steps. He goes and he flips the lights on, and then they open it, and it's this like sort of underground restaurant. And this chef was there, and he just asked, he's like, "Are there any dietary restrictions?" Okay, and he just started bringing out food over and over, more and more dishes, and it was like the best food we've ever had. And that we invited the whole tour out, all 4 bands. So, and I was just thinking, like, how incredible is this experience? We're just in Lyon, France. This incredible restaurant was open for us, and we're with all of our bands and our friends, and it was, those experiences are incredible.
Right, right. It's like you could write a book, so
Yeah,
many.
yeah, a
Man,
couple of them. I've got some
they
milestones in my life,
that
landmarks.
that
But
that is cool, and then, around 2011, 2012, you guys kind of, took a little break, and then 2017 had a reunion show, tried to get back into it. And last year, I know you guys were, even writing new songs, you were doing cover songs, getting in the studio. You're like, all right, the old Medina Lake's back, let's do this. And then
yeah,
COVID comes
yeah,
and you can't play any shows. And it's like,
yeah,
man, really? Like,
totally.
but
Yeah,
you guys still were successful and put out some new songs. I checked some of them out on, YouTube and Spotify, and everyone can check them out. I was really impressed with your cover of Beck's Loser. I was like, I haven't heard the song in a while, and I'm like, this sounds cool. And then I'm like, oh, it's a cover song. That's right. So, tell us about, last year getting excited and getting that fire back in you guys. And obviously, we're all older. We're all a little bit, more mature and different, and things in our lives, happened. But you still have that fire inside of you to still be a musician, right?
yeah, that's the thing when you're able to make, I think this probably applies to the creative space, as a whole. But once you're able to have a creative job, as an artist, and that becomes your livelihood, it's really difficult to go back to anything else. Um, we found a pretty cool way, which I think we'll probably get into later with Strange Entertainment and Charity Bomb. We're producing shows and stuff for causes. Um, but yeah, the thing with Nathan and Mateo and I, we've been in like best friends for so long, and if your friendship can survive and thrive, much less endure an experience of being in a band with someone, that speaks volumes, believe me. That is the ultimate. I mean, even the best relationship go up in flames once you put them in a band for a couple of years, and then But we've always stayed in touch, and music is will always be a core, the front and center passion of our lives. And as our relationship evolves, um, we speak music together first. And so that's always a language that's just come easy to the three of us in our particular dynamic. And we got excited about, Mateo sends some ideas over from, once every few months or something. And then when Nathan and I hear something that's got the sauce, the goods, we're all over it. And so he sent us a few riffs like Playing with Fire, and something else. And we were like, okay, this is worthy. This is worth us putting out. And he was on a plane, and a week later, we flushed
Uh,
it all out. So,
that's awesome. That is cool. Well, we're going to take a quick break. I have a little gift for you to show. And when we come back, we're going to talk more with Matthew about, his charity that he put together, Charity Bomb, right after this on the Vinnie Langdon show.
Let's see some energy, gentlemen and ladies. We'll be right back there.
All right. Well, we are back, and wow, I think I remember the thing that most impressed me about you guys, besides, having a great personality with all the band members, interacting with your fans. That's so important, like we talked about. But you just on that bass and you spinning around and having energy and almost kicking the drum kit over. And it's like, who are these guys? Are they even human? And I think that was really impressive to see, a band from, the Midwest, touring the country and always just, giving it 100% and rocking out, man.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, like I was telling you, it when I was describing the genesis of the band, one of our founding values is we have to be in our favorite band. I mean, the second that that's not true is the minute that we're sort of imposters.
Right.
And so being passionate about music and then having the ability to be in your favorite band, yeah, it makes you, really emotionally invested into the songs.
Definitely. And it's so cool to like, just to think like some of those songs, Here I Stand and One Last Kiss. And, it's like, oh, this came out a couple years ago. And then you're like, No, Vinny, that came out like
I
15,
know.
almost 20 years ago.
Yeah,
But
that's
but
funny.
it's still relevant today. You go through
Oh,
those, relationships, or you're just, having one of those moods and you're just like, I want to turn the rest of the world off and listen to some Medina Lake. And you're going, wow. And the quality too. We can't forget about that. It's we listen to some bands from the 70s or 80s, or even going back to the mid 2000s, and you're like, man, I can't believe I used to listen to this. The quality is now
right.
like was distorted, but it's like the quality is still there. With this digital age, it you didn't lose any. Yeah.
That's Mateo. We really lucked out with him. I mean, an engineer. He's a producer. In addition to being a writer, and he's so proficient at his craft. So we can crank out ideas so fast, which is really a luxury that not many bands have, and we're very lucky to have that.
That is awesome. That's great. Now let's move to a different direction. Talking about the music was great. You back in 2010, 2011, you kind of were in the middle of a situation that kind of changed your life. And, the good outcome of that is it kind of got you to think of other people's situations, and you
Yeah.
started this charity bomb nonprofit organization with a friend of yours. And tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. It has become tantamount and to my life and my livelihood. When so what Vinny is referencing is in the summer of 2010, I was leaving a writing session at Nathan's place in Chicago, and I heard a woman screaming for help. I intervened in a domestic dispute that was happening on the street, and I woke up from a coma a week later. And when I woke up, Nathan, of course, was there, and he shared with me that it was like number one trending on Twitter, and the amount of support and love, whether it was financially or just warm wishes sent up into the ether, pinged back down into my hospital bed. We attribute those gestures to my survival, and consequently, we decided that when I recovered, we would devote our lives to giving back. And that's what we did. And spent a few years learning the charity space and how it operates, and it's certainly not easy, but it is very fulfilling. And so we've raised $250,000 for other organizations, because we don't have at the time, especially we hadn't had an expertise in servicing, in providing these services. So we've since developed that. So we've now migrated to the mental health education space using our initiative is called Operation Gen Z EQ. And what we realize is organizations, there's a lot of mental health organizations out there, and none of them were focused on the preventative. So we discovered that there's scientific data to prove that EQ and social emotional learning education, when you're like a young, very young, um, is an effective um, mitigator of mental health and symptoms. So that's what we're doing now with Charity Bomb, and we produce benefit shows. So like Strange 80s, Strange 90s. We've done we do four of them annually in Chicago, Los Angeles, Nashville, and Minneapolis. COVID has really put a damper on that, but it's the way that we can use all of the relationships that we've developed over the years and put them to good use.
Right.
It's great.
Right. And I think that's important, talking about getting the education out there where, you guys aren't, you know, one of the hot crisis hotlines, or you're not, a school. It's kind of like you're this open source that has the education, for parents to be able to sit down and have conversations, with their kids, like you were saying, at a young age,
Yes.
and know that, it's okay to have, these thoughts where, you're feeling blue, you're feeling sad. I know children and teenagers all across this country, with this pandemic, they're really feeling it. And it's like,
Yeah.
just to have just to have an outlet to be able to talk about that stuff, it's really vital and important. So, and
Yeah.
with
I
yeah,
think, I think everybody in the world should be in therapy. Everybody.
yeah,
There's still like this sort of, it's for some reason it's still stigmatized out there, but I'm in therapy and I love it and I advocate it for everybody. I mean, it's just like anything else. If you want to be good at something, you have to practice it. And they talk about your 10,000 hours, right? To become a pro, once you invest 10,000 hours doing something, then you're good at it. So how would it be any different in relationships and boundaries and just decision making in life?
yeah,
And it's a no-brainer to me, and it's a way that you can really you can really navigate a peaceful, content, and fulfilling life without while avoiding the pitfalls that we
yeah.
tend to.
Definitely, definitely. So right now, you're working with that nonprofit, and that's kind of like one of your main goals in life. And let's talk about to wrap it up, the future of Medina Lake. You guys gonna spit out more music? Do you see yourself
Yeah,
being on the road in the future, or
I
where do you want to
do.
go from now?
Yeah, we were booked to do some festivals in the UK when COVID happened. So the EP that we released, um, the plan was the plan is to be able to release music at any, like, about devote a month a year to Medina Lake. So we'll put out music and then do shows to support it. And that was was going to start at the end of last year, but we're going to bump it a little bit until this COVID business clears up, and then we'll be out there.
Very cool. Very cool. That's exciting. Like we said, we're getting back to our roots and getting back to doing what we enjoy to do. And, it's a win-win situation. So, well, Matthew from Medina Lake, great to see you again. I'm glad you're here
You
to
too, brother.
be able to tell your story and,
And
get that awareness out there.
very best of luck to you. You deserve very much success, and thank you for reaching out. It's great to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well, if you guys want more information about Charity Bomb, or you want to listen to Medina Lake, you want to throw out some of the links for people to check out, Matthew.
Absolutely. We got charitybomb.org. All of the social medias at charitybomb or at charitybomb.org. Um, and Medina Lake, our Facebook page is probably where to go. And we're still somewhat active on Twitter and Instagram. That's Medina Lake, Madina Lake.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, guys, we'll see you on another episode of the Vinnie Langdon Show. If your band wants to share their stories with me, basically just go over to the VinnieLangdonShow.com or send me an email and we can schedule something and get you guys out there. Well, thanks again, Matthew, and best of luck with everything. And hopefully we'll see you on the road and again in the future.
You too, my friend. Thanks for watching.